Alright, welcome back everyone. Today we're going to learn how to build and deploy your own Rust AWS Lambda function. Alright, and if you are already here, we are going to assume that you know the benefits of doing so. So let's get right to it. Alright, for starters, make sure you have Rust installed. Yeah, if you have not already done so, okay, you can use this command that we have here to install Rust. And Rust takes a while to install. Yeah, so have patience. All right. So once you have done that, okay, we are going to install Cargo Lambda as well. So you can do this build tab Cargo Lambda / Cargo Lambda. All right. And after that, you can also do brew install Cargo Lambda. Yeah, so this is the official AWS crate and helper for you to build and deploy your AWS Lambda functions in Rust. Yeah, all right. So these are the two prerequisites that we need, okay, to install first. Okay, obviously I'm not going to do so because I have already done so previously. All right. Okay, so now to start a new Rust project for Rust Lambda function, okay, we're going to use the command cargo lambda new, yeah, and we're going to enter a flag here called HTTP. All right, what this does is basically tell AWS to enable function URL for this Lambda function. All right, later we'll get into more details regarding this. Okay, and of course the name of our project. Okay, we're just going to call it build _Rust _Lambda. All right. Okay, and wait for it to, okay, that's fast. Okay, and let's go in our new project. All right, so first thing first, okay, we need to install one crate, and that is cert, because, okay, we are using JSON serialization and deserialization, right? So add SERDE, right? That shouldn't take too long, I hope. Yeah. All right. Okay, now that is done, let's jump over to Helix to take a look at what is inside our generated Lambda function in Rust. All right. So now we are in Helix, okay, and we're looking at the main.rs for Rust Lambda function. Okay, and obviously this is all generated by the Cargo Lambda helper. Yeah, so that's quite helpful. So over here we have our main function handler. Okay, that is called over here by the main function. Yeah. Okay, we're just gonna make one small change here. So here we are basically, okay, we have a message here, and we are basically just printing it out whenever this Lambda function is called. Okay, we're just going to make one small change here just to print this out. Yeah. Okay, in the logs whenever this Lambda function is triggered. All right, so we'll just say message. Okay, and we just want a reference to message. Yeah, and that's about it. All right, and for this Lambda function, okay, we can have it run locally. Yeah, so now that we're back in our terminal, let's just clear this. Yeah, we can run our Lambda function locally first for testing purposes by doing cargo lambda wash. All right, so okay, now it says invoke server listening at port 9000. So if we go to our browser over here, okay, all right, and let's open up a new tab, okay, and let's go to localhost 9000, okay, and the URL we want is lambda-url/ build Rust Lambda. All right, let me just zoom in first. Right, so initially it's going to take a while because in dev mode, right? When this is not a release build, yeah, it will first perform the initial build, right? But for starters, you can see that, okay, we have our output text, yeah. All right, so if we go back to our terminal, you'll see all this compiling, yeah. So that only happens for the initial startup, yeah. So if we go back to Firefox again, and if we try to run this by refreshing it, this time it is much faster, and we can do something like this, yeah. So you can see that it is indeed running and being triggered. All right. And of course, if we go back to the terminal here, okay, let's just let me just push all the messages up so you can see the output in the console just above me. All right. Obviously, we want to build and deploy our Rust Lambda function online. Yeah, so in order to achieve that, okay, we need to go onto AWS and configure some things, which are pretty straightforward. Okay, but we'll be going through it step by step. So don't worry about it. Yeah. So let's go to Firefox here. Okay. And let's go to our AWS account here. Right. So we are going to assume, okay, I'm going to assume that you have already created an AWS account. Yeah. I mean, the free tier is quite generous, yeah? Okay, and okay, we're going to go in the IAM, Identity and Access Management here. Okay, if you're not here, search for IAM at the top search bar. And then under IAM, go to Users, all right? Yeah, I guess we are already here, so AWS is not re-navigating us, yeah? So we're going to create a new user here, all right? And as for the user, let's call it build _ lambda _ user. All right, click next. Okay, so usually in production, okay, most or rather the recommended practice is to add a user to a group. Okay, but okay, we're not going to dive too deeply into AWS stuff here. So we're just going to attach one policy here for this user, right? And that is related to Lambda. All right. So we have searched for Lambda here and just click this Lambda full access, right? Policy name. Okay, and click next. Okay, and here, okay, we don't have to do anything. Just click create user. All right. And now that the new user have been created, right, go into it by clicking on it, build Lambda user. All right, let's go this. Okay, and let's go into the security credentials tab here. All right, scroll down, okay, to this access keys portion here. Okay, we're going to create a new access key, yeah. Okay, so that we can build and deploy our Lambda function. Okay, so click on create access key here. Okay, we're going to choose command line interface because we're using our terminal to deploy our AWS Lambda function, made in Rust, yeah. All right. Okay, and just click next. Okay, we don't have to do anything else here. Okay, and click create access key. All right. So now AWS will generate a pair of access key and secret access key for you. All right. So these are two very important credentials, okay, that we'll use right after this. But for now, do remember to never ever share, right, these two values with anyone else. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're watching this now, by this time, I would have already revoked or deleted these two pairs. Yeah, I mean, these two keys. Yeah, so don't even bother trying that. Yeah. All right. So keep this tab open. Let's go back to our terminal. Okay, we're going to open a tab. All right, which should put us at the root directory under your users route. If you are using Mac OS, yeah. Okay, and we're going to change directory to the AWS subdirectory. Yeah. If this does not exist yet, create it. All right. You can do so using the make directory command. Yeah. So change into it. Okay, and we're going to open up the credentials file. Yeah. Which is just credentials. Yeah. And if you do not have this file yet, create it as well. Yeah. Right. So once you have it open, you should see something like this. And this is where we copy and paste our SS key ID, the first key, and the secret access key here. All right. So I'm going to go to Firefox here again to copy the first value. All right. Yep. And paste it here. And we'll do the same thing for our second value. All right, let me just paste this here as well. All right, and let me just save that. Okay, now we can go back to our first terminal tab here. All right, let's stop the running. All right, let's clear that. Okay, and for starters, okay, we're going to build our AWS Lambda function first. Yeah, and you can do that by using Cargo Lambda build. Okay, remember to always use the release build version. Yeah, so let's build it. It shouldn't take long since it's not a huge function. Yeah, and we don't have many crates as dependencies. All right, we are done with building our AWS Rust Lambda function. Okay, next, okay, in order for us to deploy this function onto AWS, okay, we need to create a new role to do so. Yeah. So for starters, okay, let's create a JSON file. Let's call this build lambda role.json. All right. And for example, if we let's close that tab. Okay. Yeah. If we open it up, right? So let's do here. Okay, and we'll open the new JSON file here. Okay, and paste this over here. All right, so this is basically the definition of the role that we need, yeah, to deploy our new Rust AWS Lambda function. Yeah, so let's save this. All right, and let's close this. Okay, so now we're back in our terminal. Yeah. Okay, and we can now create the new role, okay, using that JSON file. Okay, and this command here. Okay, just a quick reminder. Okay, be sure to install the AWS CLI. Yeah, so you can use this command. Yeah, AWS directly in your terminal. Yeah, and IAM. Okay, so we're going to create a new role. So okay, we're going to use the create role command here. Okay, and the name of the role, right? So that would be, let's do build underscore lambda underscore role. Okay, and we want to use that JSON file that we just created. Okay, so we have to pass in the assume role. Okay, assume underscore role. Assume dash row, my bad. Policy dash document, right? And we pass in the location of that JSON file that we just created. Yeah, so that would be build underscore lambda underscore row dot JSON. And as you can see, AWS has told us that, all right, we are not allowed to create the role, okay, because we are missing that policy. So let's go back to AWS. Yeah, so it's an easy fix. Yeah, so go back to AWS. Okay, and go to user here. Okay, and we're just going to attach a policy. just one policy directly. All right, so to keep things simple, okay, we're going to search for IAM and click IAM full access. Yeah. Okay, I wouldn't recommend this in a live production environment. Yeah. All right, so once this is done, yeah, let's go back to our terminal over here. Right, and let's try this again. So we're going to use this command again. Yeah, and now, okay, we should see, rather, you should see a bunch of JSON outputted, okay, with the new row created. Yeah, so this will prove that AWS has created a new row, okay, that will allow us to deploy the Lambda function onto AWS. Okay, so let me just clear this. Okay, so now all we need to do is just to deploy our function onto AWS. So we can do Cargo Lambda, deploy, enable, function URL. So because we created our Rust Lambda function, okay, with the HTTP flag, and now we are calling this, okay, we will be able to access or trigger the Lambda function, okay, using a URL that we'll see later. Yeah. Okay, and we'll call the function name build underscore Rust underscore Lambda. All right, enter. Okay, you can see that AWS, okay, is deploying, verifying the row. It should take a short while, okay, but usually it doesn't take very long. Yeah. Okay, now it's deploying the function, and there we go. Okay, so when this is deployed successfully, okay, when your Rust AWS Lambda function has been deployed successfully, you see the function ARN outputted. Okay, you also see the function URL here. Right, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, and you guess it, we're going to Firefox. All right, so in Firefox, if we use this same tab and we paste that URL, okay, we should see the same exact output. Yeah, let me just zoom in so that you can see this. Yeah. Okay, we can also do the same thing, pass in a parameter on the query. So text, for example. Yeah, and if we go to AWS here, and if we search for Lambda, all right, let's go to Lambda. Okay, we should be able to see our newly deployed Lambda function over here. Yeah, so we just deployed this using just our terminal. And if we go to monitor, let me just zoom in so you guys can, so you can see this better, right? Okay, and if we jump to CloudWatch logs, once again, let me zoom in. Yeah. Okay, that's a bit too much. All right, and let's take a look at the first log. Yeah. Yep, and you can see, okay, our output in the log. Yeah, so hello world. This is an AWS Lambda HTTP request. And here is where we entered the text. Yeah. So you can see these are the stats, right? It ran for a duration of 1.18 milliseconds. Yeah. And we were built 2 milliseconds for this, which I would say is pretty fast. Yeah. Even though this Lambda function didn't really do anything, okay, other than printing out text. All right. So obviously, depending on your use case, okay, which can be endless, right? For example, instead of just printing out simple text, yeah, let's go back to Helix over here. Yeah, so instead of this simple message here, okay, say what if we want to display or render a static page, right, after performing some calculations after a period of time. Yeah. So for that, let's say, let's seconds equals to 200, for example, yeah. And message, let's remove that. And we'll say, all right, display this message, which is basically just a simple HTTP string, yeah. All right, and I'm going to remove this. Actually, let's keep it, yeah, let's keep it. All right, save this. And we're going to build or rather, we're going to rebuild and redeploy this, yeah, which is very fast since we have already done the initial setting up. All right, so clear this, okay, and let's rebuild our cargo. By using our Cargo Lambda. Okay, let's rebuild our Rust AWS Lambda function. All right. And obviously in release mode, yeah. Okay, and we just need to redeploy this by doing this again. And we are done. So watch what happens if we go back to Firefox now. All right, we're back in Firefox. And if we refresh this page, bam. All right, so you get the point. Yeah, you can even render a HTML page using just Lambda functions. Yeah. All right. So hopefully today's short tutorial on how to build and deploy your own Rust AWS Lambda function has been helpful and entertaining as well. And if you found it so, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you have not already done so, do subscribe to this channel. It will help it out a lot, and will also let us know that you like this type of videos. Yeah. Okay, but as always, stay awesome and stay safe, everyone. Just man. Bye.